Good morning, Midland, Texas, Buddy Webb. And hey, I got a old quick video I want to do for you, and it's coming off a Facebook post I made a couple days ago uh, concerning the Homeland Security and my interaction with them. Right now, I'm on the Homeland Security website, and this is called the Blue Campaign. And I just looked up human trafficking. I mean, the reason I went to Homeland Security was because it was my belief that they were supposed to be the ones who investigate and stop, human trafficking. And so here's what they say right on their website. Human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide, including right here in the United States. It can happen in any community, and victims can be any age, race, gender, nationality. Traffickers might use violence, manipulation, or false promises of well-paying jobs or romantic relationships to lure victims into trafficking situations. You can see it right there from Homeland. Now that's going to be getting me started on my post on Homeland Security. Said not my job. Okay, not my job. And so my first paragraph was copied and pasted right from this Homeland Security website that I just read to you. And of course, there's more if you want to go back and look at it. And I went on. I said I contacted Homeland Security a couple months ago with irrefutable evidence, which included the story of the young girl that was murdered at the oil show party when she refused to prostitute for the human traffickers. Homeland Security Agent Paul informed me that if sex traffickers murder one of their victims, then it's not their problem. What? Has anybody heard of this? He didn't say that once. He said that multiple times, and I believe that's recorded too. Because multiple times I come back and go, yeah, but they murdered a girl, or, they murdered the girl at the party. Well, yeah, but then if they murder somebody, it's not my problem, Homeland Security don't take care of human traffickers that murder people. Where did this line get drawn that I've never even heard of? It makes no sense whatsoever, if you're the guy that takes care of Homeland, and here you've got this after hours party that are famous, wild, huge, big, a lot of people, a lot of money and wealth. International, Permian Basin International Oil Show, tens of thousands of people flying in for this convention. It's a major prostitution, human trafficking, sex trafficking event, and these women, these sex traffickers are drugging them. They're telling them you either prostitute or you die. This little girl didn't want to prostitute. My friend was there. They murdered that little girl. Here's a young girl's remains they found, a year later in 2013. But the irrefutable evidence is I wasn't shot with my gun, so somebody under my home shot me. I believe this party happened in that same underground facility. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. And basically what happened here is I first called Homeland Security, and then I went to the Midland Police Department on May 28th. And we sat in and I was going to tell my whole story, and I went about an hour and a half, and I prepared them a large booklet and a flash drive of evidence. I believe it could solve up to a dozen murders. I have a video on that, on evidence provided to Homeland. I made it right before I went up there, and which I'm glad I did, because I'm there and I'm starting, barely even got started, and all of a sudden they run me out. Oh, we got to go. We have a case, and I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. This is everywhere I go, I get run off. They don't want to hear that, they don't want to hear this story. They don't want to hear anything about crime. If you got a citizen coming to them and reporting crime, they run you off. And that's what happened to me that day. And then so a few days later, on July 2nd, I get text message from Paul, from the same Homeland Security, and there's more than one of them, but he's the main one for me, talking to me. And he wanted to come here to my home, and which I'm like, excellent. There's a lot of stuff I'll show you here, and because this home and the murder attempt on my life, I believe, is tied in the murder of the last homeowner. It's tied in the girl that was murdered at the oil show party, and there's the burglaries and all the other homes that are reporting people in the attic, all the crimes, it's all tied together. And so anyways, then at the last minute, he changes his mind. And this is all text message, and he's not going to come to my house and wants me to wait. This is the same day that Vice President Pence mysteriously turned around in the air and flew back to Washington, D.C. So you know what day it was. It's July 2nd. Well, later that afternoon, he wants to meet me at Home Depot. Okay, that's what these text messages, it's the first one on the left here. And so we'll be there in 15 minutes. We're in the parking lot in Home Depot, and the white Ford Explorer, black Ford F-150 meet us there. And so basically it was 2 Homeland Security agents, Paul and another guy, and then their boss, okay? And their boss is the one that come in and ran me out of the police, didn't ever allow me to finish, telling my story when, about the crimes here and all that from the police department from the first day. So there we go under a tree. One of them's got a voice recorder, and one of the first things he said, he asked me, he says, and he's kind of upset, I don't understand why you don't sell that house. If you think you're under a threat, and to me, that was what a criminal says. That's what the people that are behind these crimes, the people that tried to murder me, they're trying to scare me out of my home. That's what they say. I've got videos on it. I've been print screening these same people making them same comments, and this is coming from a law enforcement officer. I compared it to the bank having a robbery, and the police showing up. I don't know why you don't sell that bank, What? Sell the bank because somebody robbed the bank? It's like, what? I'm telling you about the crimes at my house, and you're asking me why I won't sell my home? And so I, on this recording, and at the same day, I explained the Hobbs Act to him. And that basically says you can't terrorize a person into selling their property. Just think if you could do that, and it's done when a group of people, criminals, a crime ring, right? And some of them break into the house, terrorize the homeowner, shoot the homeowner, threaten them, death threats, all that. Others, they sit there and they, they'll come up to them and say, I don't know why you don't sell that house, right? And then the police, that they're a part of it, they look the other way while all the crime's going on. Like when I sent the email to the chief of police and the mayor and the city council of videos of 100 burglars, videos of burglars on my house 50 times. I got an email on that. They looked the other way. The crimes continued. And at the same time, I got people coming to me going, I don't know why you don't sell that house. And, and it does come down to selling it to the price they want. And, and so because law enforcement won't enforce the law and my life's threatened, right, then they think they're going to get the deal of the century, basically, because they're conspiring together to steal property. Real estate fraud, that's the Hobbs Act. So anyway, I explained that. We then went behind Home Depot. I showed them where I thought the tunnels were, the side-by-side manholes, all that. All this time, truly, he was making excuses, well, prostitution goes on, they don't mean it's a crime ring, and every single thing I tried to show him, I'm going, but they murdered the girl for me. They shot me. Yeah, but if it's murder, it's not my job. Not my job. Not my job. Not my job. Over and over and over, I listen to him say, not my job, or, that Homeland don't take care of that, And so then I got home and I was really upset about that. And I wrote a long text message. And I included a video called Decided to Sell My Home. And it talked about all the many people that, it talked about the Hobbs Act and all the many people. And literally, that probably 100 people have tried to talk me into selling my home. And I sent it to this Homeland Security guy, and then also the Hobbs Act carries the 20-year prison sentence. If you're one of them people conspiring, say you're one of the corrupt police that are, looking the other way while crimes are being committed against the homeowner, waiting for them to sell their property, and so your friends can get the deal of the century, then you could go to prison for 20 years. And he says, I simply ask you why you wouldn't consider selling your home if you continue to feel threatened in there. So this is Paul talking to me. Let's get something clear. I was not trying to talk you into selling your home today, And then he goes on, remember our entire conversation was recorded. And that's very important, and, because now we can't come back and go, oh, no, there's no recording of that, And so, I'd love to take that one, make it a YouTube video, And so anyways, that was that first meet me there was them text messages from the Homeland Security. Well, a couple of weeks later, 2 weeks later, well, here, I'm going to go here. The reason I took the same evidence to the FBI was because Homeland Security advised me to, after telling them that it's not their job if the sex traffickers murder one of the victims. The reason I took the same evidence to the FBI. Okay. And when he left that day, basically, not my job, contact the FBI, contact anybody but us, basically. That's basically what he's saying. And so I had this video, and y'all can go watch it sometime, evidence provided to Homeland. And basically, it's minutes before I went to see Homeland that day, I show the book that I created that it's tabbed out. It's just packed with evidence. And then there's a flash drive with audios and videos and all that. Okay, medical crimes, real estate crimes, all the crimes together. And, and I literally, there was one woman that in a text message, she told me, what'd she tell me? I think somebody showed her an ID of one of the girls that was buried in the West Mesa murders in Albuquerque. Okay. And, that they dug up 11 women prostitutes up in Albuquerque. And she thinks it was one of her family members or whatever. And that was in that packet. Okay. And there were screenshots. It's not Buddy said, it's not hearsay. It comes straight from, screenshots, recorded phone calls, etc. Okay. Next one. As seen in the text message from above, there's a recording of Homeland Security Agent Paul asking me why I won't sell my home since I'm under the threat of death. The same recording has me explain to him about the Hobbs Act, okay, which says that criminals can't conspire together with corrupt police to terrorize a property owner into selling their property. I believe the same recording will also have him telling me that if sex traffickers murder one of the sex trafficking victims, then it's not his job. They only deal with human traffickers that don't murder. Okay, and here's the Hobbs Act. Okay, and you can just Google the Hobbs Act right here. Shall be fined under this title in prison not more than 20 years, right? It says extortion or attempts or conspires. Conspires works with others, right? Extortion means the obtaining of property from another with his consent, induced by wrongful use of actual or threatened force, violence, fear, or under color or official right. I don't know why you don't sell your home if you're because you've got 50 death threats, right, after surviving a murder attempt, right? That's what he asked me, not in them words. Homeland Security, human trafficking, okay? Human trafficking involves the use of fraud, coercion, whatever, and I think I copied and pasted that from the website. And that's what it is. I copied and pasted from where we was at. I already read to you. And I put a link there in the comment, okay? My friend who witnessed the murder of the young girl at the 2010 oil show party was afraid to report this and told me that high-level police were there. When I tried to report it to Homeland Security, who leads us to believe they investigate human trafficking crimes, I'm told, not my job. Okay, there we go. And this is a very important video, and I got multiple videos on it, but that, I'm telling about my friend. I gave them the name of my friend that was at that party. And then even more than that, I was at work, we're on break one day. One of my coworkers, it was contract landman, walks up to her and asks her, what time did you get home last night? About 3 o'clock. So I knew she was there at the party. I gave them her name. Another guy was a safety guy, at another company in my building. He comes up to her right while I'm standing there that week of the oil show party, and rudely says, got me something last night. And she cowered in shame. So I knew he was there at the party where the little girl was murdered. So there's 3 people's names that they can go and investigate. And then, what you want to bet that the secret police that remained secret for 6 years, I had to pay to get them identified, that some of them were at the same party. That's why she was afraid to report the murder, because the corrupt police were there. They're being threatened is what's happening. They're being threatened by corrupt police saying, if you report this, something bad happens to you, like you die, And so here we go. I took the 2 Homeland Security agents behind Home Depot and showed them where I suspected a tunnel went and was connected with the underground facility where the oil show party murder happened. More than one time I was told, not my job. It's not my job if there is a murder. Okay, this is behind Home Depot. This is a Google Earth historical map. Okay, this is my home. I was shot on this side of my home on the inside right there. Okay, and then behind my home is an alley, and then there's a wall. And then there's a secluded truck unloading lane. That's the perfect place to smuggle drugs, weapons, terrorists, humans, whatever. And this big building's Home Depot. Okay, and you can see where the ground is cut right here, different color. You see that, and you look at it, it's aimed right at my house. Right, you project it out, and so multiple people said there's tunnels here, and and then of course on Google Earth Maps, it looks like there's a large facility in my backyard right here, and that's not seen from above ground. You can see where the cover up was gone, where they took that live tree out, after I'm posting pictures over there, suspecting, that was connected with the human trafficking and going on with the truckers, people in the attic and all that, and connected one of them side-by-side bandos. I showed Paul and the other agent that. And then on this side, you see the ground's cut too. And this is where the concrete was poured, boom, 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 boom. And I even went over to Home Depot, and they told me, yeah, we're replacing the asphalt on our whole parking lot. And they didn't. All they did was this one area right there. They poured concrete right there. And that one more looks like it goes to the neighbor's house right there. And, so anyway, and then that other, it popped it up right here in the neighbor's backyard. That was a suspected tunnel entrance that's taken out. I got a video on that called Tunnel Entrances. Next comment. 2 weeks after showing Homeland Security where I believe one of the sex trafficking tunnels was located, the ground was dug up and they were pouring concrete. I texted Homeland Security, but obviously this was tampering with evidence in a capital murder or multiple capital murders, but he didn't respond. I guess he felt like, not my job. It's just the murder of a young girl who wouldn't prostitute. That is the problem of the FBI, sheriff, DPS, or anybody else but them. Okay. Okay, and so and basically I'm out garage sale hunting and they had garage sales there at where I was at.
And see, I was just there 2 weeks ago with the Homeland Security Agent, showing them where I suspected the tunnel entrance was, and because I've got multiple people telling me there's underground facility tunnels here, have reason to believe that, I was told about the little girl being murdered in 2010. Looks like the last homeowner, Michael Alhan, died in 2008. Then I'm ambushed and shot by somebody under my home in 2012 after contacting the DEA and reporting the suspected tunnel. And so it's just very odd that 2 weeks ago I was meeting Homeland here. And one thing I just posted here is, when I go to meet him, and this was a recorded conversation, he's like, I just don't see why you don't move.
And my home is right here. It's right back there on the other side of that wall. And I literally come back there and showed I was back there with Homeland Security 2 weeks before, showing them where I suspect the tunnel is. I sent them the pictures from Google Earth Maps, told them all this crime. I have print screen. One woman says, yeah, I know the underground facility is half a block away. Another guy says, I used to live in their house. I used to go in the tunnels underneath your house. I have a print screen of that with his name. I gave it to Homeland, and 2 weeks later, they're in there and they're pouring concrete, unbelievable. Okay. And okay, let's move on to the next one. Homeland Security Agent Paul told me, remember, a whole conversation was recorded. Well, I would love to get a hold of that recording. I think that should be made public. Let's hear it. Many people are wondering why law enforcement would ask me about selling my home when I report crimes at my home. That would be like asking the bank, and I already said that. I said, you can't imagine how many people have asked, suggested, or ordered me to sell my home and move. I was literally told that I had two choices: move, meet God early, or move. I have a print screen on that. Okay, and I want to show you here. Okay, this is called, I call it my move post. I built this, Here's Jacqueline. I'd move. Sometimes they're very rude, like Leah. She's very rude, and I've known her all my life. Okay, and here we go. More of them. Okay, all these people moving. This is only a few of them. Look at this one. Sell and move the F out, you moron. No milking. Do you think these people know that there's a $1 million underground facility here where they murder little girls? I got a feeling they do. That's why they want to move. Wouldn't it be logical that isn't the normal question be, why hasn't the police arrested these people that are breaking your home? That seems like the normal question, not asking the homeowner to move. Somebody breaks in your house. Can you imagine them asking you to move? And then let's look at some of the death threats. Fast forward 2 weeks, Mr. Webb is nowhere to be found. They're going to get the snitch. He's going to wind up being in a hole. You will be silenced, not if, but when. When are you going to murder me, Lance? That's some of the death threats I got, and there's more of them, okay? And then there's a copy of the Hobbs Act we went over a while ago. Extortion is the act of obtaining property while under the threat of death. You see how they can all work together and try to get your property, and it is at the price they want, because I said I'd sell my home, and so that, if they cough up the money, then they could have bought my home, right? And of course, it was $1 billion, but hey, it's all about the price, right? They're wanting the deal of the century, and you don't get it. If not, get with the secret police, go break into another home and murder some other, or shoot some other homeowner. Okay, this is built from. This is an animated GIF file, but it come from Google Maps. Go to maps.google.com. You just put in my address, 3802 Fair Circle, and you just switch from the sat view to the block view. Okay, and so look in my backyard. There's a big facility in my backyard on the block view, but there's no facility there on the sat view. Okay, so I'm, I was told I recorded a woman on the phone telling me there are 4 3-bedroom homes, 25 foot deep, each cost $1 million. And remember, there's where the ground was cut, looks like a tunnel aimed directly at my house. Big parking lot on the other side of Home Depot, which I suspect, big parties could park in, then come this way, and then go, then they can, have their prostitution parties and murder little girls. Okay. And then the last one, the Not My Job girl. The remains of the young girl between 14 and 21 were found outside of Midland in 2013. I suspect it's the girl that I was told about being murdered at the 2010 oil show party when she refused to prostitute. We don't know her name, so I was thinking that we could call her the Not My Job girl. Just nickname her until we get her name. Because this right here is from KMID, and remains found in 2013. The remains were determined to be that of a young woman between 14 and 21. And so remember, that was late 2010 when that oil show party happens. And so, it's very possible these remains belong to that young girl that was murdered at the oil show party where the high-level police were. And it's very possible it happened in the underground facilities, maybe the one in my backyard. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. And maybe if somebody knows that rule about Homeland, that they don't investigate human traffickers that murder, let me know.